Hello, Toronto commuters. So, recently the city put out this Facebook post promoting their webpage that they made that lists all the traffic laws as they pertain to cyclists. It's like a short list of traffic laws as they pertain to cyclists. And it's a pretty good list. It's easy to understand, convenient to have, and makes sense that they'd want to promote it on Facebook. But of course in the comments things got crazy. And instead of people discussing the particulars of the traffic laws and stuff and what to do in different situations, a whole bunch of angry drivers showed up and demonstrated all the typical myths about cyclists. A really surprising amount of people don't understand how roads are funded, and also a surprising number of people want to pretend that cyclist behavior is different from what it is, even though anybody can just look and see what it is. So I've seen this so many times where people will claim none of the cyclists are obeying the law. They're all running red lights and stuff. Or they're all on the sidewalk or whatever. So even though anybody can just look and see what cyclists are actually doing, every once in a while I like to go and make some video where I go see what cyclists are actually doing. And I've been posting these on YouTube as my series called Toronto's Cyclists, sarcastically. And so far they've been of one or two intersections. But today I'm gonna videotape a whole bunch of intersections downtown. Starting out with Dundas West, just on the north side of Trinity Bellwoods Park, where I am right now. And I'll just sort of go to random spots. So, let's see what terrible stuff Toronto's cyclists are up to, and give them the chance to demonstrate their hatred of the red lights. That's pretty much what I'm going to focus on today. It's this thing about cyclists running red lights. We'll probably see a few that do. But I just find it so funny. This whole thing, I can understand people getting mad about when cyclists do that, but what I find funny is when people want to pretend that it's way more common than it actually is. So yeah, check it out. So long story short, about a third or a quarter of all the cyclists broke some law, and about 1/5 or 1/6 of them failed to stop at a stop sign. Alright, you can click next. The rest of the video is really boring. Have a good day. Oh, enough of that. Here's an intersection I hate a lot. Dundas and Bathurst. that's enough of that. Alright, next I'm going to do College and Augusta, just on the northern side of Kensington Market. this is College and Beverly, where there's bike lanes on both roads. Enough of that. This is Sherburne and Wellesley. Might as well do Sherburne and Blue, right? Let's just step aside for a minute here. What I'm noticing here is most of the illegal cyclist activity, and also the sketchiest, the most dangerous to the cyclist, seems to be people trying to turn left onto Bloor after approaching it from the south. People using the sidewalk or not using the sidewalk and getting into sketchy situations that I wouldn't want to be in. And then I notice when they're turning left onto Wellesley after approaching the intersection from east, they're not doing that because there's a spot for them to hang out on the northwestern side of the intersection. Got the Rosedale Valley right here. It's so nice. It's a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, and I'm wasting it doing boring traffic shit. Oh, check it out. So now there's bike lanes on Yonge. So, might as well check out Yonge and Bloor.
Go to this. is. I can't even tell you how great it is to be able to bike to the Beltline Trail from downtown using Young. This is awesome. This gives me a whole new way to get to and from the downtown, because I live super far west in Ward 5. So this is great. Alright, I guess that's it. Mission accomplished. So I have tallied up the numbers using my advanced mathematical system, and the results are 58 out of 178 of the cyclists in this video broke some law, and that turns out to be like a third or a quarter or something. And in terms of specifically failing to stop at a stop sign, 16 out of 75 of the cyclists who were facing a stop sign, like were coming up on a red light, 16 of those 75 cyclists went through the red light or stopped and then went through before it went green. So that's like 1 in 5 or 1 in 6. And in terms of, so let's drill into these violations of the law. I included the cyclists who were going the wrong way up the road north of Trinity Bellwoods Park. And there's a couple other ways to go north from Trinity Bellwoods Park from the area. But the closest one is like a narrower street where you're going to have drivers coming up behind you and there's not really enough room to share the road with them. And I don't know, the road that they were turning onto is probably going to end up having a counterflow lane for cyclists. The left and right turning lanes aren't like really necessary for drivers to use that intersection when they have the green light, because they can just use the intersection itself to stage their turns. The other thing I noticed is a lot of the cyclists who were breaking the law that they were breaking was they were riding their bikes in crosswalks in order to avoid making left turns. And making left turns in traffic as a cyclist is you need a lot more driver cooperation than you're going to get. So I think it's kind of understandable and boring that they'd be doing that. The other alternative is like you get off your bike and you walk your bike through the crosswalk, but it's not really that much safer. It just takes up a lot more room. So you got the choice of like being in the way or breaking the law, which is not enforced because the police are not really enforcing the laws on the traffic laws on drivers or cyclists or anybody. And so I don't know, cyclists typically have this choice of like, we could do something that's legal and dangerous, which people usually try and then give up on after getting their right-of-way violated by some weird drivers. The other options are you can do something legal and like inconvenient where you're getting in the way, or you can do something illegal but still safe and also convenient. So given those three options, 1 out of 3 cyclists chooses the illegal and convenient and safe way to do it. And I don't think that's terribly surprising. In this whole thing, I didn't really witness anybody do anything super dangerous. Okay, a couple people did something super dangerous. One of them was one of the people who was obeying the law, and it was dangerous because they were doing it in the legal way. This was somebody who was like turning left onto Bloor after approaching it from south. And this is something that a whole bunch of cyclists were using the crosswalk to avoid. In terms of the cyclists that obeyed the law, I also included the ones that got off their bikes and walked across on the crosswalk, which is what I do, as somebody who cares so much about So, the most dangerous thing that happened on this whole beautiful afternoon, when I should have been hanging out in a beautiful forest somewhere because it was like the last gorgeous day of the year, and now it's all rainy and stuff. The most dangerous thing that happened was some driver made a crazy sketchy U-turn in front of me on College, and I had to stop, and it was dumb and sketchy, but whatever. So, that's it. Here's your video about, next time you see somebody on Facebook claiming like all the cyclists are scofflaws and they hate the laws and they hate society and they're all running the red lights, our precious red lights that matters so much more. And I find it funny, like when drivers complain about cyclists, their go-to is inanimate objects. Like their go-to is stoplights and stop signs. And I mean, of course, running a red light, you could end up doing something dangerous. But what I'm noticing in this video is, and in general in real life, is when cyclists run stop lights, they usually do it in, like, they'll stop at the light, wait for it to be clear, and then they're going ahead, preempting the green light in order to avoid sharing the intersection with a bunch of drivers. And that's because of the terrible, crazy stuff that happens when cyclists wait for the green light and then go. And in trying to cross the intersection, they get cut off by, like, I've had this crazy, like, I've been cut off by 3 drivers in one intersection, all of whom are breaking the law. And then by the time I'm like halfway through the intersection, the light is red again, and there's traffic. The other light turns green, and I've got drivers coming at me from the sides. So my theory is, like me, every cyclist starts out doing things the legal way, and then finds out really quick that that's not safe, and then they try doing things the illegal way, and they're just not satisfied with that because breaking the law sucks. At that point, most of them just give up and become drivers, and some of us figure out some complicated, inconvenient, confusing-looking way to like safely and legally and a little bit weirdly get through the intersections or wherever we're trying to get through, usually by yielding when we don't need to, and doing stuff that's confusing to drivers. So drivers, for the most part, don't get to see the weird, sketchy driver behavior that we're avoiding, because we're avoiding it. But what they get to see is cyclists breaking the law, or cyclists doing weird stuff that doesn't make any sense, that they don't understand. So, yeah, anyway, happy commuting, y'all. And here's looking forward to a better future where we have better infrastructure, where we have, like, if we want to get cyclists to stop breaking the law, paradoxically, the solution is enforce the law on drivers. Because when drivers start cooperating, then cyclists can start just doing things normally, which is so much simpler. And then the cyclists that are still breaking the law are really easy to spot, and then you could enforce the law on them and get everybody under control, and we can have, like, traffic paradise and everything can be perfect. Like, I would just love to be able to use the arterial roads that don't have bike lanes. If drivers would cooperate and obey the law, I would be going super fast in the curb lane of Jane Street every day, and that would be great. My commute time to work would be much faster, and pretty soon the like that lane would fill up with cyclists like it does on Dundas during the summer in evening rush hour, and there'd be fewer drivers on the road, so the drivers would have less congestion, and the cyclists would be able to do what they want, and the drivers would be able to switch to cycling for the commutes where they don't want to drive, and blah blah blah. So, all right, for the third time, I'll say bye for the final time. Later.